Lunchtime, kids! All right! Hello, friends. It's lunchtime.
Oh, hello. This is Josh. Welcome to the Lunch Break Show. I was digging that previous bed we had on YouTube. If you're on Facebook, you may not have heard it. Do we have that again?
You probably caught a little bit of it. Yeah, I can pull that up. Give me one
please.
second.
Yeah, please. That was putting me in the mood.
Turn that back on, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, hold on.
Let's go back to before we were doing the show.
I was digging those tunes.
That's a
I think
good
It's a
one.
good way to start off the show. A little bit of
You like that?
a little bit of relaxation.
I can dig that.
So this is, again, the Lunch Break Show. Happens every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here. Except for next Friday. Tomorrow. Nope.
This
2 days
coming
from now.
Friday.
2 days. Good Friday. We're off Good Friday. There we go. And we won't be on the show then. But we do a show every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, normally on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm in studio, as always, with Zach Lewis, Matt Stoker, and Anna Xavier. How's it going?
It's going. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing good. I like the lineup of the topics today for the show. I think we have a pretty solid show today. We're starting off with a pretty hot topic.
Well, hold on. Am I going to have to be the one that points this out? Since clothing news is the hot topic from upstairs.
I wasn't gonna bring it up. I wasn't gonna bring it up. So yeah.
Look, I'm just gonna let our viewers look here. Just give me 1 second. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 1. Those appear to be the same shirt, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you shop at the highest end stores in all of Dallas.
It's true. Yeah. They only made 2 of these shirts. You're looking at both of them. You're welcome. Yeah.
It's elite.
It's not. I'm trying.
I don't think they're not the same brand.
It's pretty close.
No,
to the
one
same
has
shirt.
this is like
One
you
has
can
a
see
white
square.
tag. Clearly
Right.
a white tag.
This
There we go.
indicates that it is not the same shirt.
What brand is yours?
I don't know.
All right.
I know
time
that
to
you can
check.
see.
Can you check? Do I?
I think
should
mine's,
I check?
Yeah, you can look.
I think
Mine's
this is-
Hakurai.
This is Target, whatever they do.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not ashamed to say I buy clothes from Target, and if
Okay.
you are
Massimo.
yeah, you're not welcome here.
This is
Shut up! No, it's not. It's like Columbia or something. I don't. Here,
Yeah.
I'll
Okay,
figure
let
it
me
out.
check. I need
Yeah,
to
please.
check.
Do you mind? Look.
Please, can you? I can't.
yeah, we can turn on my my soundboard.
Goody fella.
Good fella.
Good fella.
Good fella. Oh, there we go.
That's it.
Good
Yeah.
fella.
Good fella.
Mine's Hakurai, which is a strictly a Stitch Fix brand. So thank you, Stitch Fix, for styling me the way
Nice.
that I am.
How much did? Well, no, it's Stitch Fix. I was gonna say, how much does your shirt retail for? Let's get to the bottom of this.
I think it retails at Stitch Fix for like $50 or $60.
Oh, really?
Oh, high society.
Sounds like.
Well, that includes stuff though, right? Or is that just a shirt?
It comes in a gold wrapper. But
Oh,
no,
well,
no,
yeah.
no. It comes in a box. Like just the shirt.
Mine came in a plastic bag from Target, and it is $29.95.
So really, if you can't
not that
tell
far apart.
if you
Take a
can't
pick.
if you can't tell a difference, then he is the clear victor in this.
So excited to be a part of this.
Moving on. Let's see if I can get my soundboard. There we go.
Oh.
You'll notice the music playing in the background. There's a story out of Canada that I thought was fascinating, and it's one of those.
So we bring you traditional Canadian music.
No. Bring you French music. Give me a second. I'm getting there.
Shouldn't we get like Justin Bieber or Celine Dion or
Oh yeah,
something?
that's true.
Oh.
Got an Ace Ventura drop.
Yeah, those would have all been great. I went with
But I love that.
this.
No, yours matches the story.
Yeah. So
It's true.
a man who happens to be French, by the way, a man in Canada of French heritage, got fired from his job, and he's claiming that, and I've never heard this term used before, but that the firing was a wrongful firing because of culture reasons. Their culture
Discrimination.
Their discrimination against his culture.
That's terrible.
It's
Canada, that's
horrible,
terrible. Get your
horrible.
stuff together.
Yeah. Offensive, no excuse for it, except what he was doing was being rude. And he says in France, it's okay to be rude.
Right.
And it's part of my culture to be rude, and that's why I shouldn't get fired for being rude.
There's a country, I don't know if it's Germany or Japan, because cultural insensitivity just seems to be our bread and butter on this show.
Those are very close.
One of them, it's like normal, I think, to what, like burp after a meal, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe that's Japan.
Japan does that.
Yes.
Yeah, I couldn't remember. It seems insensitive here, right? But there, it's like normal. This man is making the claim that being rude in France is so boilerplate that when he does it here, it should be accepted because that's how French people do things.
That's what you should expect.
Our global correspondent, Anna.
The only person who was not born in America.
How do you feel about this?
You see, I'm in a tricky situation because my husband is French, and whatever I say here may haunt me on my way back home.
Does he watch the show?
Yes, he's watching now.
Yeah. Step 1 of the lunch break. Don't let your significant other watch the show.
Ban them. Don't tell them it exists.
No, can't watch.
He's been watching on replay after the show, so it's actually the first time he's watching live. So I'm like, oh, darling, I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
So, all right. Yes, French people are commonly known for being rude or being
Abrasive.
perceived as rude.
Yeah.
But I was reading, so the BBC actually wrote a story on this, saying something like along the lines of, are French people really, really that, rude, or is it like cultural? So, it's one side is, are people being rude or being direct? Mm-hmm. And one of the big things is French people will just tell you what they think.
Yeah.
They're proud of being French, and I like it, or I don't, and I will tell you.
When I was in Paris on vacation, because I think you guys always make fun of me. You guys always make fun of me when I say that.
There's nothing wrong with you traveling.
No, you always say stuff. So anyway, I just made the joke first.
Yes.
When I was on vacation in Paris, I found that people weren't rude. They just don't suffer fools. Like here, especially in the South, we're much more lenient, and we give people the benefit of the doubt, and we're always like over the top nice.
Oh, bless your heart.
For customer service purposes.
Yeah.
Like
Correct.
we go, oh, that's fine, don't worry about it, even though you're being, a jerk.
I think the same could be said for about French people as you do for New Yorkers.
Exactly.
Right? Like New Yorkers are typically seen as very direct. They're nice in their own way, but they don't have any patience for people who waste their time or whatever.
Which in New York I understand, because New York is a hustle bustle, always moving. Yeah. And in Paris I didn't see that. It wasn't a hustle bustle. It was just
they have no reason for it.
I don't have time for you, like as a person.
Yeah, sure. I agree. I've been to France I've been to Paris, and people were very rude there. Yeah. Very rude. Like. Almost like, oh my God, is that
really
that bad? Yes. And then you go to other parts of France, and people are lovely and friendly and kind, and you're like, oh, okay, what is with Paris?
Yeah. In Toulouse, they were great. Everyone was nice. They're like accommodating. I can't speak a lick of French, and they were fine with that. Like we battled back and forth with some really bad Spanish, and we got through. But in Paris, it was like obviously they look at me and go, "You're an American." Because you're not like wearing like solid black and a red beret
and the baguette under the arm,
the arm, riding a small bike. You're clearly American, and
that sounds like a stereotype.
It was, yeah. And they have like this like sense of like, I know this is going to be a hassle to deal with you, and I would try, like I would have my little like book, and I would like try to practice ordering in French and all. But I'm god awful, and so I think it was easier for me just to be. I hope you speak English, and you do. Okay, great. And let's just work off that. But yeah, every place I went to, I was on edge, kind of like when I'm at like a deli in New York, and if you don't have exactly what you want when you get up there, next person. So I was always trying to like be prepared because of that anxiety of having to order in Paris.
Don't waste time.
Yeah, like I want this and this and this.
I don't think that's limited to any one country, though. I mean, we both worked food service gigs. Like, you've had people you've had to help out who can't really speak the language, or from out of town, or from out of the country. I always look at it as kind of an endearing thing. Like, you're trying, you're expanding your horizons. Maybe that's that Southern comfort you were talking about.
Comfort, yeah.
We take it easy because it's like, well, it's fine. You're doing your best. We're all getting along. But I guess in France, they just don't feel that way.
Not in Paris, I guess.
Not
but honestly,
Paris.
When I was living in London, we went on kind of like exactly doing, cafe service. So we went on a little tour from the Parisian cafes. And we were like 20 people, and I'm the only one that actually kind of speaks French at the time. And we are in a boulangerie trying to eat our
Yeah.
croissant, obviously. And, well, I just got butchered for not saying the sentence in the right order. Even though no one spoke French. These ladies stares at me in the eye and she says, not the right order.
Wow.
So I was like, while trying so hard.
Did you turn the table over and get up and go, I'm out of here?
Yeah, was this an employee that said this?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
She was the person serving us.
Right. See, I think that wouldn't fly here because then whoever that
Nope.
was would immediately be like, "Let me speak to your manager." Like that's where that all falls out.
Yeah.
That would get tiered out. But there, I guess it was just like, well,
Yeah, exactly. You're
good
like,
lord.
Yeah.
oof.
So it is one of those things, and I hate the fact that we actually have to talk about is this a cultural thing or not. I don't think that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because he's suing. He found a lawyer to take the case.
Sure. Well,
And-
of course.
and
A
he's
friend
suing-
Canadian
Yeah,
lawyer.
and he's taking the case to court civilly. He was fired for wrongful termination and they're prejudiced against his culture. I don't think, even if, and again, this is maybe my ignorant opinion, so full disclosure, I think if you're in that society, if you're in France and that's the rule in France and someone's rude to you, I went trying to be on my best behavior and trying to adopt their custom. I think if you're in Canada and their custom is not to be rude to the guest, and as a waiter whose job is to serve the guest of the people of that region, instead of expecting everyone to be accommodating to what you think, you should have to be accommodating to the masses.
Yeah.
And that's my overall approach to that.
Especially if you are employed to be there. Yeah,
Yeah.
like that is part of what you do. You wear a uniform, you take on a role, all right? Like you can't just say, "Oh, well that's part of my culture or whatever." How far is that?
Well, so
gonna get
Amanda
you?
on Facebook makes a good point where, and I'm not sure what city this is in. Does it say what city this is in? Or do we know what city this happened in?
I didn't read that
I
part
thought
down.
it was in city started with V.
In
like
Vancouver?
Vancouver.
Okay.
There we go.
So maybe it doesn't apply quite as much there, but I know there are other parts, the more eastern parts of Canada, where French culture is very much a part. Like it's very much celebrated, and they make a big deal about preserving their French culture, and they want French to be the national language, or at least the language of Quebec.
Yeah.
And so I could understand where in certain parts of the country where that might be a little bit more of an argument where you could say, hey, look, we're French here, and this is the way it goes. Now, this guy's painting with a very broad brush, saying, well, all French people are rude. Don't you know that? So clearly I should be allowed to. But
It's just goes back to one of those things for me. Like if you're working in the service industry and you get fired for not serving people the way that the boss wants you to serve them, which is in because there's restaurants here. What's that restaurant in next to House of Blues? Dick's.
oh, Dick's Last Resort.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that place. Yeah,
where I always forget that they're rude to you there.
Right.
Always forget, and that's like
That's their
shtick.
bit. Yeah, that's their thing.
And
Are you the only customer that doesn't go there because of their fame?
Well, no,
on that?
I used to go there because it was close to the House of Blues, and so when I was in radio and you would have a show or something you had to do at the House of Blues, you would go there before or after to get food.
Yeah, it's that or Hooters, right?
Yeah,
That's
and
what's over there.
now they
Yeah.
have Hard Rock. So you have very limited selection, and so I would go and I would forget. I would forget that they were being rude to you. When they would come up and they would be rude to you, I was like, Where do you think you
sir,
are? Yeah.
Sir.
How dare you? It would take me like a few minutes to go, oh yeah, that's right. I'm here. So I'm always like, what in the world? What bizarro world am I in that this is okay?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like unless that's what he should do is go find a job at Dick's Last Resort. He'd be
There we
phenomenal.
go. He can be
Yeah.
himself.
So, but I don't think you can sue for being fired for being rude to guests
Yeah.
when that's your job is to serve them. I don't
Right.
think
If
there's
that's not the way the place runs, then you fall in line.
Yeah, like you could be too nice to work at Dick's Last Resort, and I just can't
Sure.
be rude to people. Well, then you're going to get fired because that's what
Right.
people go there to expect.
That's the thing. Like, this isn't a two-way street, right? I doubt I would get fired at Dick's Last Resort for being too nice to somebody. And if I claimed, oh, well, you can't fire me, that's just my culture. That's absurd. Like, it doesn't go both ways. So you can't claim that, like, you're allowed to be mean because of where you were born. Like, that doesn't get you anywhere. Come on now.
And you have to know, isn't Canada known for being just the nicest people ever? Like,
It's supposed to be.
yeah, they had to ask for their own
Yeah.
their own country from the Queen of England. ask nicely if they could be free. Like, that's like their whole thing. Is like they're like nice and sweet.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah, that's the stereotype.
Accommodating.
That's the stereotype.
Of
Yeah.
course, but I'm just saying that's a stereotype. So if the French are stereotype for being
I mean,
rude,
there are worse stereotypes, right? Like being nice. Like, you guys are awfully nice. Well, how dare you?
yeah. So the whole thing. I'd love to read more feedback in your comments. But coming up next, we're going to be talking about the 4-day school day. It's happening in a major major city here in the United States. I'll tell you which and what the results are going to be. Coming up next on the Lunch Break Show. So, told you before, there's a school in Denver that is doing a new line of school days. So I've heard for a while that the school days were trying to go year-round. That was going to be a growing trend, and year-round school is how they do it in other countries that are far superior when they do like global testing. I'm not sure how they do global testing, by the way, but they like rank how smart like high school students are, and we aren't like in the top 10 as the United States. We aren't.
You don't say.
Yeah, oddly enough, not in the top 10, which is hilarious because we think we're the best at everything.
Sure,
It's because we are the best at everything
in America.
Yeah.
We assume so, but no, we are not, and we have lower. And I think we're like last I heard like a year or two ago, we were like in the 20s, mid to low 20s. As far as our national rank, as far as education goes.
We're a sharp bunch.
Well, I mean, I think we also have a lot of people, and so that take into account. But as far as education goes, we're thinking about going year round. I know there's other countries that
Which
do that.
countries? I'm curious.
Well, I now have to look it up.
Oops.
No, that's fine.
We were depending on you to bring that knowledge. Because
You know
everything about all the rest of the world that we don't.
I know we're going to talk about the 4-day work week essentially, and I know that's like a topic on itself, but year-round school.
So
God,
basically,
as somebody who was a student, that
It's
seems
like
like
a
a terrible
job.
idea.
No, thank you.
That sounds like the worst idea ever.
Okay, but what it is
Yeah,
you
please.
get like a week or two off here and there. But what they say is that you lose a lot of your retention in the 3 months that you're out of school.
Right.
Yeah.
So they say like the people who are for or are against year-round schools, they say the reason why you shouldn't do it is because the cost of keeping the building open and cool and those kind of things are astronomical. That's why you close down during the summer months, and that goes back to even before when there wasn't AC and it was too hot to have school, so you just like cancel everything.
Yeah.
But now that kind of holds true, and that's one of those things. But you lose so much of the knowledge that you don't transfer a lot of it over. So you're spending the first half of that year kind of like refreshing what you should have learned from the 8th grade or 9th grade or whatever it is.
Sure.
And you're bringing that information over, and then now by your 6th week or 7th week, now you start learning what you should have learned week 1.
Right.
Whereas if you had year-round school, you still get breaks, but you just go to school more often than not.
That seems like a very adult answer to a very childish problem. Like, I don't think any kid ever thought, like, man, the best memories of my life, like, in the classroom working hard. Like, it's summer. It's summer vacation, for God's sake.
That's the one thing you get when you're a kid.
That's the thing. Yeah, you get 2 weeks in Christmas, you get a week for spring break, you get summer. Summer is the ultimate time for you to be a child and learn about who you are and what you're doing, right, in the world.
What are you talking about?
Like if you cut out summer and it's just, we're going to do things year-round now, like, God, imagine how browbeaten that generation's is going to be, right? They're going to be miserable.
What did you do during the summer that was so like?
You ride your bike and you have fun.
Think about every movie about childhood, adolescence, or whatever. Like that takes place during the summer.
Yeah,
all the good stuff. You find dead bodies during the summer.
Yeah.
You go on adventures. You ride your bike places that you shouldn't.
Yeah, everything cool happens in summer. That's when things. That's when things go on, right? Like you cut that out and you just raise a bunch of kids that are like, I just work year round and that's my life. Like, come on now.
Yeah, that
just
sounds like
one of the most-
proper work.
One of the most disappointing transitions, or one of the most disappointing parts of the transition from childhood to adulthood is losing summer, right? It's like when you get out of 5th grade and like, oh, you're out of elementary school, no more recess, that's just gone now. It's a bummer. And if you just remove that whole 3-month break, like, man, you're in a whole other man, Facebook totally disagrees with me.
It's one person on Facebook.
Okay, well, that makes me feel a little better.
Let's be fair.
Yeah. Really? Year-round school is a good idea?
Yes.
Please throw me some defense for this. Like, help me see the light here.
I think there's probably ways to do the
I
way
don't
it is
think
now,
that's a
where
good
you're not
idea.
having to. You're not. I mean, just give them a summer learning course or something like that, and not make them go to class all summer.
I was wrong. This is our we've gotten off the topic of
Sorry,
4
that's what I
days.
mean. I'm like, this is a whole
no,
other.
But either way, there are already 3,181 school districts in the United States that have year-round school, and a percentage of those, so 10% of kids already have year-round school here in the U.S. And it's in 46 states in the U.S. I don't know if Texas, I'm sure we're big. I'm sure there's one of us that has that here. But the benefit of that is that kids are, one, more prepared for college, and they retain more information. So you have smarter kids who are prepared to actually get into the workforce.
Right.
That my first year of work, I was like, hey, when's spring break? Like, and literally that was like, oh yeah, you said like you said.
Well, that just sounds like your problem.
Yeah, no, that's everyone. Their first real job. You're right.
Yeah.
They go, man, we don't get like a big break in the middle of this. We don't get to like stop down. It's like we are in a European country that wants like this, like hey, we're going to go on summer holiday for a month and a half, and the whole town shuts down. Like, it's one of those deals. It prepares them for life. There's nothing that I did in summer that I couldn't do, as well during the school year.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I was fine when I got to. I mean, it's one of those things where, yeah, I missed the summers off, but I wasn't tragically broken by the fact of not having a summer break anymore. Like, that's childhood, right?
Yeah, I wasn't like
Yeah, it was
crying
a
in my
bummer.
pillow.
But you're almost an
Like,
adult.
what are we
by
preparing?
Then, right?
Like, what are we having to prepare them for? Like,
Prepare them for life.
why? They're kids.
Because there's no.
You don't have to prepare kids.
You do.
To have give them a summer off.
Yeah.
For what?
To be
Because
kids.
Yeah.
to
To
be kids,
go
what do you mean
outside
because?
and look at bugs in the woods
What
and
is
screw
one-
around with their friends.
Make them pay taxes then. Send them to work at the age of 5 and make them pay taxes.
Put them back
Get
in the
ready.
salt mine. Yeah, like put those kids to work.
What is one thing that you did in the summertime that you couldn't do on a Saturday? That you couldn't do on a Friday or a Thursday at 4 o'clock when you were
I
already
could spend
out
the whole
of
day
school?
outside. I could spend the whole day exploring outside.
I would travel with my family. All right, we'd go up to Michigan and visit, and
You
we'd spend a
can
month
still
up there.
do that.
No, I couldn't. It takes 2 days just to get up there.
you
That's
fly.
a weekend gone. Well, yeah, okay.
Done.
I
Yes.
guess if my parents are working all year round and I'm working hard too, we'll have the
Fly.
scratch to do that. Yeah. Like what? There's travel. You learn about the
So-
world. You broaden your horizons when you're sitting outside of a classroom. You explore. You learn things. I don't know. Why do I have to defend summer vacation? That seems
don't
like
know.
a layup.
Not
I don't
a
know.
summer, because you're not defending summer vacation.
Yeah.
Everyone's entitled to summer vacation. Even when
doesn't
you
sound
work.
like it.
Even when you work, you're entitled to summer vacation. But 3 months?
Why not? It's the time to enjoy the distant family. I know people that would all go to like the lake house and just be with their cousins, learning, exploring, doing all sorts of fun things.
Yeah, this is
getting
like
to know.
this attitude of only learning gets done in the classroom, right? I mean,
Exactly.
you do things over the summer. When would you have time to go to some sort of camp and learn other things like that? I mean, I was in the Boy Scouts. We did a lot of stuff over the summer that we weren't able to do during the school year because we were in school.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like that gives you time to become more well-rounded than simply just sitting in a classroom all the time and maybe having a week off every now and then, right?
Right. No, absolutely. You go to you go to the local pool and you learn about human anatomy and you just
Yeah, exactly.
You do things that kids do. You grow up. I
We're
guess.
talking about Sandlot now, is what you're going for.
And
But-
Sandlot happened in the summer.
Yeah,
like that's my
exactly.
point. Yeah,
Right.
is that things happen.
That
And-
movie would not exist without summer break.
So
Right.
the only cons on this, I'm sure, non-biased site that I'm on, which is it's just an education blog.
Sure.
Is the only cons is that students can't have part-time summer jobs. Is a problem. But I had a job when I was in school, so that
Right.
isn't that.
Is the economy just keep going the only reason?
Well, it's weird because a couple weeks ago we were talking about like the 2-hour lunch break in Spain and like how great that would be, and that's taking time away from work for you to go out and do things in the world, right? And like we were all for that, but this one, I don't know. It's kind of up in the air, I guess. And it seems like you're not like it's not just us. There are people outside of this room who are like, get rid of summer. I mean, Amanda's on Facebook right now, like split the year up into trimesters with months in between.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Maybe there are answers. The trimester thing's not bad. I hadn't considered that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Now, I know that there are schools that do that.
Yeah, you get bigger chunks of breaks. So like you would get like 3 or 4 weeks here, 2 or 3 weeks here, but you don't get a 3-month block where nothing in the classroom gets done. Because that's what they're trying to do is teach so that you can learn in other ways, but they're trying to continue the education that you learned in your classroom. And the teachers that I've talked to, which again, your parents both come from educational
I'm a little
backgrounds.
biased. Yeah, sure.
I have a friend who is a teacher, now a principal, and he goes, the hardest week is that first week because you're corralling these kids who have essentially been lawless for 3 months and been able to do whatever they want and go wherever they want. You're having to settle them back into the routine of school.
Sure.
So that takes a while.
Yeah.
He goes, so instead of doing all of that, they just know this is the routine. You get 2 weeks here, but you haven't forgot everything that you were trying to learn. You're coming back and it's just a continual educational system that prepares you for college, preparing you for life. You still get breaks, still get to travel. Your parents can't take off 3 months when they don't work in education. My parents could never take off 3 months, so my summer was spent at home watching Matlock and eating microwave pizza. So like it's one of those deals that.
And who would you be without that?
Yeah, well, I'd be probably a lot thinner. But it's one of those deals that I just feel like that's the year-round school is a good way of doing it. Yes, I look forward to summer. I look forward to sleeping in and playing video games. But I didn't go out and go to museums or go to art displays and better myself. It was all just spent trying to just relax. Which again, what am I relaxing from? I'm in school. I don't know about taxes or bills or what are you trying to decompress from?
Well, that's I don't understand why we have this need to make children be adults. For I didn't have a problem transitioning from high school into college into the real world.
I'm not saying go to the coal mine. I'm just saying there is some sort of sense of sitting around for 3 months and doing nothing doesn't do anyone any good.
So here's an idea. Diego on Facebook.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
And I believe he actually said the French conversation went well and you're safe to come home.
Yep.
But he also said make it progressive. Keep summer off for little kids and then progressively reduce that time as they get older.
Yeah.
So maybe when you get to high school, then you break it up into trimesters or something like that.
Okay.
It's looking at kids in childhood through an adult lens. That's what it is. You're assuming that kids aren't learning or doing anything. Like Andy said, the learning never stops. You never stop learning. It's never I'm just not going to learn anything for 3 months. You develop, you grow, you spend time with your parents and your family that you would normally spend in a classroom. You travel. I don't know. You learn things. I really.
Yeah.
Again, your parents were educators by trade.
They were.
And so I'm sure, my wife grew up where during the summer, her mom, who's a nurse, would go to the teacher's outlet store and buy workbooks.
Yeah.
And she made a way to make them fun, but they would work on workbooks at home on a overcast day or hey, you're taking a break from being outside. Work on these workbooks, and they were fun for them, and they enjoyed doing the workbooks.
Sure.
My parents didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
Right? And I think for a lot of people had more or less my experience, which is where I would wake up at 11, have 2 microwave burritos and a Coke, and then about 2 o'clock I would go outside and I would play roller hockey in the street for X amount of hours, and then that was it. That was the day.
Right.
I didn't learn anything. I watched Matlock and I watched Garfield but I didn't learn anything.
But those things shaped you into the person you are today, whether you meant them to or not. Those turn you into who you're going to be. You have that time to kind of develop your hobbies and figure out what you like and don't like. You figure out things that aren't academic. You liked Matlock, you like television, you like entertainment, and here we are streaming on the internet doing a lunch show. It all falls somewhere, right? It all matters.
In school, I was in theater. I was in competitive speaking debates, and so that's the same stuff. I was just more structured.
That stuff exists in summer though. You can get that stuff if you could do that stuff if you wanted to. Or if your parents wanted to put you in those things, you could.
I just feel like structure is always a good thing. We can go round and round, whatever.
Yeah,
agree.
it's true. Very circular argument here.
Yeah, so we have another hot topic for you when we come back. We didn't even talk about the 4-day school. Denver's having their kids go to school for 4 days. The opposite of what we're talking about.
The parents are mad.
Parents are mad because they don't get a day off. They don't get the 4th day off, so now they have to find childcare for 1 day a week.
Right.
Which is a problem, but it's the same problem we're having with the year-round schools as well. Like, what do kids do in the summertime? Parents always freak out that, they don't know what to do with their kids. For me, it was, again, stay at home, and, the TV was my babysitter. But I would like to know what you think about that. We kind of spent most of our time talking about the opposite of that. Either way, when we come back, an interesting article about staycations versus vacations and which one is better. As we come back on the lunch break right here on RNCN.
Hope you can mute out all my.
And we are back. How's it going, everyone? Having a good day. As you can tell, we're in here with an ad for Mucinex.
Mucinex Fast Max.
Gentlemen, go ahead.
Fast Max.
Go ahead and introduce yourselves and who you're with. You have your time to pump your websites or whatever you guys want to.
Yeah,
Gabe, after you.
Tell us what you got going on in your life.
What I have, I don't think we have enough time for that. But I'll just say, no, Gabe Apshire, I'm with Utility Concierge. Good friends of the show. Just thought we'd pop in.
Yeah,
and
please.
jump
We had you
in
on last week. Yeah.
jump in on y'all's discussion.
And for you, sir?
Yeah, I'm Steve Lemire of the Where's My Parachute podcast.
That's right.
It's becoming extremely famous these
Yeah,
days.
it is ripping through the
Oh,
airwaves.
man, it's crazy.
We have you guys in again. We love that you guys are always in, kind of popping around, hanging out with Jeff. Jeff brought you down and surprised you coming on the air. We were talking about an article that we read that says it's more important to go on staycations versus vacations. And I know you guys are world travelers. You've, I'm sure, been a lot of different places. But do you find that to be true? And I'll set it up by saying this. I know for me, I've been we go on like one big trip every other year. So like, whether that's Asia, Europe, Mexico, whatever it is, we go on like one big trip, then we go on a local trip the other years. So somewhere in the U.S., whether that's New York or San Francisco, whatever it is. So that's how we kind of pace things out. But we try to, at least before we had a kid, we have a 10-month-old at home, and we haven't done any sort of vacationing at all because it's been just about like trying to sleep and whatever it is. But before that, every year or so, we try to have a staycation somewhere like Austin, or actually like staying in Dallas and like finding a part of Dallas you've never been to before, whether that's downtown or whether that's Fort Worth, and it's a quick little trip and it's a hotel stay, and then you're back like at the end of the week. And they're saying that staycations are better than vacations for your overall like happiness. Have you guys ever gone on a staycation?
I would say it's more frequency, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
a commitment of how often you want to get away from everything. And so if you have the means to take a vacation every quarter, then that's awesome. But I mean, a 2-night getaway every quarter would be awesome if it's a Fort Worth, Austin, whatever, just to kind of shut down and enjoy the amenities of the hotel, and heck, just go in a hotel and staying in with the missus and the kids and swimming at the pool and ordering room service. But I think it's about the frequency in which you want to commit to getting away and resetting.
So, real quick, let's make our claim. This is a staycation which you still go somewhere, and you still stay somewhere. Let's say that you're not staying at home.
That was my question,
Yeah. So for our staycation that me and my wife have done, we've done 3, all prior to having the kid. And one was in downtown Dallas. We lived in Dallas. We lived at like 635, 75 area. Yeah. We lived there, had a little condo, but instead we drove downtown and became tourists in downtown Dallas for 2 days. Had a hotel, but we went to like Spaghetti Warehouse, walked around West End, did the JFK tour. Never been to the JFK Museum before. Did the Reunion Ball. I did things that tourists would do when they're in Dallas. Went to a lot of art museums and just got away. Yeah. It seemed dumb to be 20 minutes away from your house, but there is, like Gabe was saying, there's something about that disconnect when you walk into a hotel and you're able to go, I'm not at home. I have my laptop away. I have on I brought bathing suit shorts. Like, we're going to be here. Yeah. And, like, we can unplug. And it's a lot more cost-efficient way of doing it.
Yeah. And what a great way to get to know the city.
So I would I would still call that a vacation.
See, I kind of would too.
A staycation to me is you go home.
You stay.
Yeah.
And you don't work, but you're at home and you're planting flowers or watching TV or something.
Yeah, I think what you did is, for me, how I would define it is like this weird, like a hybrid. It's in between the two.
So it's like a nearcation.
There you go. Yeah, I'll take nearcation. That's not bad.
It's a stay nearcation.
Yeah. That's good.
Stay nearcation.
But for us, that's what they determine as staycation. So when you stay in your town and you vacation in your town.
There's a lot of parts of the city that you don't go deep into. You might go to dinner downtown, but you're not, there, and you don't get to see the local shops and the museums and really just kind of be a resident of a certain area of town for a couple of days.
Right.
There's something cool about that.
I think if I was going to I'd rather, I'd skip the hybrid. I'd just rather save up if I'm going to take vacation to go somewhere, even if it's not that far.
For sure.
I don't know if I'd stay in Dallas. I'd go somewhere like, I don't know, Austin for the weekend. So, like, not as far. Like, the in-between. I don't know. Yeah, but it's...
I'd call that a vacation.
Yeah.
If you're traveling outside of your immediate area.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that does count. I don't know. So I'd rather do something like that. But I do see the value in what you're talking about. That actually does sound like a good weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did San Marcos for spring break. The last 4 days of spring break.
Yeah.
So that's close to a staycation, but it was awesome. We had a place right on the river, and
that'd be great, yeah. And that was one of those deals that, because it wouldn't be practical to drive back every night.
Right.
And so that would be one of those, like, vacational experiences. Vacational? Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, vacational experiences. Good word. What's a hot tip for you guys, like a spot that you've vacationed at that, is affordable but still fantastic?
Ooh.
I would tell you, but not a staycation or a staycation?
Yeah, no, an actual vacation.
Okay, so, man, Guatemala is awesome.
Ooh, Guatemala.
It's very cost effective. The people are just great, and you can get there on a 3-hour flight from Dallas.
Yeah. Really?
Direct flight.
Guatemala in 3 hours?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I never guessed
Because
that.
that's how I felt about Mexico City. Because Mexico City, we did whatever the hotel thing where you like buy an area. So we bought off the main strip. We got a 5-star hotel for like $100. We didn't know the nightlife, so we just stayed in every night. So we would like walk around during the day and go to museums and the zoo, all that kind of stuff. But we came back to the hotel for dinner, and we would like just don't care about the price, steak and cocktails and wine. And I think the total cost of the hotel plus dinner was like $300-$400
for how many nights?
For 2 nights.
Not bad.
Which is so it's like one of those, like, Mexico City was phenomenal.
Yeah.
I want to go there.
Yeah.
I just haven't got my kidnapping insurance.
Well, that's the deal. Everyone worries about that. And, of course, my mother-in-law has the mentality of if the worst could happen, it will happen. And so she was sending us articles about people who had been kidnapped and taken and all this kind of stuff. But it was always at, like, the shadiest parts of town.
Wait a second. This from the guy that just got back from Colombia.
Oh,
Where was your kidnapping insurance?
Colombia.
There, my brother?
I had you with me, so I was okay.
Yeah, Colombia is way more scary to me than going to Mexico City.
Right.
But they say like the two kidnappings. One was a guy, they were having a protest in the square, and one of the protesters got drunk and went into a bar and was like talking bad about the president or whatever. And a van pulled up and grabbed him and took him off. They said they were with the police, but
Where was this? Colombia? This
is in Mexico City.
Right.
And another guy was stabbed who was an American, but he owed like $30,000 in gambling.
Not
debts.
while you were there.
No. This is all like the weeks leading up to us going.
You're
She was,
way
like,
more
finding-
likely to die in a plane crash than get.
Yeah. But she was like, she found the story of the guy who owed $30,000, and by the way, $30,000 US in Mexico City is a large amount.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he owed $30,000 in gambling debts and was stabbed.
Yeah.
So that could happen anywhere.
Yeah.
But being there, I felt totally safe. The coffee's phenomenal. The food is phenomenal. And that was my like best. If you only have like a grand to spend on a vacation, Mexico City.
Yeah.
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 That's on my list. Yeah, I've heard it's awesome.
Gabe, how about yourself? Yeah, where would you go? Got any favorites?
Yeah, I would say I love Austin.
Yeah.
So I mean, that would be a vacation. I define a staycation as staying in your town, like you said.
Sure.
But just a quick getaway, Austin, staying on the east side of 35, and just trying to get an Airbnb and try to immerse yourself and be a resident. So my tip would be wherever you go, if you want the 5-star hotel experience, great. If not, but get something when you're in a neighborhood and you can immerse yourself in the local food, the culture, the coffee, and just hang out in the neighborhood. That's what I like to do if I only have a couple of days.
Last one we did was San Antonio. It's a good time. You walk around the Riverwalk. It's not bad.
Is there anything to
Antonio's
do
good.
besides the Riverwalk in San Antonio? Because I've done the Riverwalk a handful of times.
There's
Puffy tacos.
I was gonna say there's a little like Hispanic kind of section of the city you can go
There's
hang out in.
SeaWorld.
There's SeaWorld.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever heard of this place
Especially
called the
for
Alamo?
That's by the Riverwalk.
What's
You know
that?
what? I
Yeah.
never
We did-
remember that.
That's the last kind of
Alamo, yeah.
staycation we did. We went and picked up a dog in South Texas, and we spent, a night at the JW Marriott,
Yeah.
and then ran down to downtown, saw the Riverwalk, saw the Alamo with the kids, dragging them through there, and then we went down south and picked up the dog and drove back. But anything in Austin, the hill country, I mean, you get in the hill country, it's like you're in another world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really
Beautiful
is.
down there.
You were talking about B&B. Have you ever had a bad experience, Gabe, with the Airbnb?
For Airbnb and VRBO? No. I mean, I looked pretty close to the reviews. I mean, I would rather that than a hotel, to be honest with you, just so you can just kind of immerse yourself in it. But no bad experiences. I love it.
I'll tell you a place real close that's great is Glen Rose, Texas.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. My wife is
Hill
from there
country.
actually, so we go and visit quite a bit just to spend the day down there. But yeah, that's like
Fossil Rim and
right.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
that's kind of
Dinosaur
the if you want to get the hill country feel, but don't want to go drive very far south. Glen Rose is a great place to go.
I'll tell you a bad place, Jacksonville, Texas. That's where
Jacksonville, Texas.
Yeah, that's where I graduated high school. It's very depressing and super sad. So just feel free if you're ever like really happy and everything looks really good in life, just take a quick trip down to the tomato capital of the world.
Oh,
in
wow.
Jacksonville.
They do have the
Texas.
Texas Bigfoot Conference there.
They do.
They do.
Well, I did not know that. You know what? Redacted. I take it all back. Guys, thanks for coming on. Again, look forward to having you guys come in and do your own podcast with Where's My Parachute. And Gabe, you have a handful that you're kind of bouncing around right now. So looking forward to hearing you guys more often on the RNCN network.
Awesome. Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys.
Coming right back on RNCN. And we are back on RNCN. You know what? You can go ahead and send Anna back in here because we have a good topic that I want her to be a part of.
Do we?
Yeah.
What do we got?
It is about relationships, and we all are in relationships.
Yes.
So it'd be good to have a female perspective on this topic.
Yeah, Anna, come on back, if you don't mind. Hey, Sarah Strackhouse had a funny Airbnb story.
Oh, what was her story?
It's not really funny, but she was staying at a place just this last weekend, I forget where, and she was talking about how, like, the morning before they left, I don't really know the details, they were all, her and her friends were all hanging out in, like, the living room doing whatever, and they heard glass shatter. So they go in the bathroom, and the glass door to the shower at the Airbnb just, like, shattered by itself. I don't know if there was, like, a miniature earthquake or something, but, like, something fractured, and the whole thing went down, shattered glass.
Very curious.
Here's my thing.
Suspect.
No way they get out of not eating that, right?
Yeah,
like,
no way.
They're totally gonna get billed for that. Like,
Yeah.
come on, whoever runs that Airbnb, whoever owns that house or apartment or wherever they stayed, yeah, like you have to assume they broke it, of course. Like you can't just it just broke by itself. Nobody's gonna go for that.
Actually, that happens.
I
read somewhere
I believe
it
it
actually
happens.
like casually, just like explodes.
No, I believe it. Sure.
I tried pitching that to my mom growing up several times.
Yeah.
No, it just broke.
it just broke by
No, no, no.
itself. Yeah.
We weren't playing catch in the house. It just shattered.
Yeah. Very curious.
I had another friend, and we'll get back to the topic here in a second. I had a friend who went on an Airbnb experience, and it was awful because they found like a hidden door in the bottom of the house, and it was like a secret basement. It was a secret basement in this house that looked like, because they did a Facebook Live. They're like much braver than I am.
Oh my God.
They turned like their camera phone on with the light, and we're like walking down and exploring this like hidden, like locked, hidden murder room.
Sure.
What was down there?
Nothing. Like,
Man.
Like,
Go ahead.
and
Just
then-
somebody's storage space that they.
Didn't use.
But it was the size of the whole bottom floor. It's like a basement, but there's just no like other door besides a hidden door under a rug. And they just happened to find like a hollow sound on this floor, and they step on it and like, so they pull it back, and of course you look into it, but there's no like stairs leading down, just a drop down hole.
It's like a cellar in Evil Dead.
Yeah.
That isn't a problem. That's a feature. Okay.
Yeah, no, I like that.
That Airbnb got some serious play on Facebook for that. People like, check out this weird place. How creepy is
So
this?
it was they were Facebook Living is what it was. They were
Right.
Facebook Living, and everyone's like, don't go in there. Like I had
gotta.
I had
You have to
911
go.
on standby. The whole thing was like, she said, hey, here's the address we're at. If we get taken, like, call.
Yeah.
oh
Call
my
the
God.
cops.
We get taken.
So, but that was their Airbnb experience.
Wow.
I brought Anna in because we're all in relationships, and I wanted a female perspective for this last break of the RNC and lunch break show. And it's the
Gosh, we're almost done, aren't we?
yeah, that went by so fast.
Yeah.
Time
I
flies.
don't know if it was the year-round school topic that went too long,
Yeah.
or the staycation vacation, but one
I don't
of
think
them
it went long enough. We
One
didn't
of the-
settle anything.
Yeah.
we didn't get to the bottom of anything at all.
just
All
got
I know is
emotional.
Josh didn't like growing up in Jacksonville, and maybe that has something to do with him not
I
liking
only
summer.
spent a year. That tells you how bad Jacksonville. I spent a year in Jacksonville, Texas.
1
and
year.
hated it.
That's all it took.
That was enough.
To the point where I got depressed just traveling back to visit my parents.
Oh, wow.
Like, luckily they've moved out of Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. And if you're from there, I'm sorry, but it's a sad town.
But the Bigfoot Museum, right?
No, conference.
Conference?
Yeah, and I should say I actually misspoke. That was in Jefferson. So I
Yeah.
apologize. Jacksonville has absolutely nothing.
Never
They
mind.
have the Tomato Bowl, and that is about it.
No redeeming
But
qualities.
if you're ever in Jefferson, it's a
Wow.
great place to visit, and the Texas Bigfoot Conference is coming up this fall.
Jefferson, Texas.
is
I love
is
it.
a lovely town.
It is.
So anyway, back to the topic. It says the question is why you should act single when you're in a relationship.
Why you should act single when you're in a relationship.
What?
So just hearing that sentence, you should act single when you're in a relationship. What's the first reaction you have?
Apprehension, I guess. Yeah, treading lightly, I think, is a good place to go there. Because when you put the word single and relationship together,
Yeah.
it implies a little bit of vagueness, I guess.
I think if you take out the obvious, like no extra like
Playing the
relationship,
field.
playing the
Cheating.
field, no
Yeah.
cheating. Take out the no cheating part, which is one of those deals. All the same rules of a relationship apply, but they said that you should act like you're single, and then what they mean by that is you should like spend time with your friends. You should have your own hobbies. You should do all of those things. And I know for a lot of people, when they partner up, they become, instead of two people in a relationship, they morph into one person who can do only the one thing.
Right. They get joint Facebook accounts and things like that.
There we go. That's exactly what I was going to point out. So they turn into your Facebook
Matt in
profile.
the control booth, ladies and gentlemen. I love it. There it is.
Yes. Yeah.
Well placed.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? It's true. I would say that my wife and I fall more under the category of we are a unit. We are a package deal.
It's funny, only knowing one of you, like I couldn't disagree more. I feel like you're totally separate people.
Well,
You know how many times? I've never once met you. Actually, I think
go ahead.
I think I might have
liberal
met
use.
your wife once,
Yeah.
but like everything you do is independent seemingly. I know we're at work. This is a job,
Yeah.
but like you are totally your own person. You're your own identity. You go out and do your own things. You host a show. I gotta know, like, right? Am I crazy? here?
This is it. You are seeing the height of my.
It's the only time you
that's
get to
as
be
far as
yourself.
that is. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and finish
No,
your point. I'm sorry.
I'll say here, like I think we have merged more into one. There are other things that I do that she doesn't do. Like I love playing video games.
Yeah.
I think she likes playing Harry Potter on Wii.
Okay.
That's the extent of her
Yeah.
video game ness.
Shout out to Harry Potter.
Yeah, she loves that Harry Potter. We do a lot of the things. Like if you invite me, when I was in the press tour kind of circuit and being invited to a lot of stuff, if you invite me, she's coming.
Okay.
And if she can't come, I'm not going.
Right.
And it was a deal that I just like I get so little time with her because I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
That if I'm going to be out doing something, I want her there for multiple reasons. One, if it's fun and exciting, why wouldn't I want to share that with her?
Well, yeah, she's probably pretty cool, right?
She is.
You want to share her
She's
with the fun and
much cooler
exciting.
than I am.
Yeah.
She is a much better representation of me than actually me. But for me, that was always part of the deal. And for a lot of my friends, they don't get that.
Right.
Like she isn't a woman who, like my guy friends go, oh, I'm sorry I said that. Like she is much more like open and free. Like there's not a place that I would go. This is a better way of saying it. A place that I would go where I wouldn't want her there.
Yeah.
So why not bring her along?
Sure.
This article would disagree with me and said I had to have my own like independent like guys' night out, drinking beer and playing Top Golf or whatever. Which again I could do, but my thought is I would always invite her. Mm-hmm. Like she'd always be included, and if she wanted to go, great.
Yeah.
If she didn't, I would in fact survive.
Yeah.
But Anna's laughing at me. But
I'm laughing.
I'm not married, so I want to chip in on this. But Anna, you go first.
But the thing is, like, you don't necessarily need to be married to
Yeah.
be like that. I'm actually the exact opposite. Diego and I do share a lot of interests, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm a strong, independent woman. I'm gonna do my own
Don't
thing.
need no
You
man.
do. Yeah, honestly, I will be like, oh, I'm sorry. I think that's a girl's night.
Yeah.
But I would hang out with him exactly because we're both working and I'm like, I enjoy his time. But when you have similar interests or the same interests, you do tend to hang out with the same people, especially if you have a ton of friends. But I still think it's so important to just like spend time apart. Like that way you have something to talk about when you get home. Oh, you know what I was doing today? Oh, and so there I met them and this happened and that happened. I think it's like the most important thing to be your own person and hang out with different people at some point.
Matt, thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's. I mean, well, first of all, I'll check in on Facebook here. Amanda on Facebook says, "Don't be too dependent on your significant other." So I think she agrees with that.
Yeah.
And Diego on Facebook says, "Be yourself. Remember who you are and who your loved one fell in love with." So
Yeah.
I think that's fair. Is like don't give away too much of your own personality in order to, become more of a single unit, I guess is what he's trying to say there. And yeah, I agree. Like I'm happy to. I don't have a problem with Megan going on girls' nights out and things like that. I get to stay home and watch movies and play video games if I want to.
Yeah.
And I've never had a problem with it, and I think she would probably feel the same way. If I want to go watch wrestling, then she's probably not going to come along with me to do that. So,
like I guess like for my argument, it's not that my wife, because I've never said before, hey, you can't come.
Right.
Have you ever said, "Hey, this is a guys only thing. We're watching WWE Ultimate SmackDown"?
Oh no, I don't typically. I mean, I can't say never. I don't know that I've ever said no, you're not coming or anything like that. I may have just not invited her because I knew she wouldn't want to go. But most of the time, if I'm going somewhere, I'll say, "Hey, do you want to come?" And
to me, and again, I may be completely wrong, which is a good chance. But if there's ever a moment where you're like, "Ooh, I need a break," not a break. I want to get away and just have like just my guys, and I don't want my wife to be there. Like that to me would be like one of those like, I want to investigate that thought process more.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this article is not saying if you feel like you have to do this, like you have to get away. It's just saying don't be afraid to still have friends that you hang out with that doesn't include your spouse or your girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever.
What it's saying is it's saying keep your single attitude toward your friends, your career, and everything that makes you who you are.
Right.
You need to live life outside of your relationship so that you're not too dependent on that person, on the person that you love.
Yeah, I've seen people do this. I've especially seen people do this when they have children, where it's just they don't have any relationship with anyone else in their life unless that person also has a kid that they can go do kid stuff with. But otherwise, it's like they're single friends or they're unchildrened friends, if that's a word. I don't think that's probably a word.
That's a status.
Childless.
Childless. Yeah, that's probably what I was looking for. It becomes and right. I understand why. I'm not saying like it's
How dare you?
It's a problem, but I'm just saying like that happens.
One of my best friends right now is a single, childless guy. And we hang out probably once every other week.
Yeah.
And he like basically comes along and does whatever we're doing. Like he goes and he's Uncle Peter, and he does he gets dressed up in the Santa Claus outfit for the Santa pictures. And
wow.
He was the Easter bunny for the Easter pictures, and so like those kind of things. Like we include him.
Yeah.
And I am not looking forward. Like selfishly, I'm not looking forward to him getting a girlfriend, like serious long-term girlfriend, because that's going to change that.
Right.
Like right now, he has the independence to do whatever he wants and go wherever he wants, whenever he wants, because he's a single unit. But when you choose to date someone or you choose to marry someone, you're choosing no longer to be an individual. You're choosing to be a unit, choosing to be a group.
Right.
And that comes with consequences. And they're not bad. Consequences don't have to be bad. But I no longer, now that I'm a married man, I no longer get to say, I'm going to do something.
Right.
I had to think about my wife and my child and the implications of whatever I do and how that affects her and my son.
Right.
And so I think that's the reason why I would disagree with this, that you can't think about yourself as being a single unit, because you're not ever, until you're no longer married and until your kid's 18, you're not a single unit. You are forever bound to someone and something.
I have a nugget of wisdom from the great rapper Will Smith.
Please.
Who said,
Sure, of course.
in one of his very recent motivational videos, because he kind of does those now.
Jesus.
He was
Does he have the Will Smith clock?
Well, he was talking about how funny rock clock drop for anybody who doesn't know. He was talking about him and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, and how he doesn't think of themselves as like one unit moving along a track. He said, I think of our relationship, and she does as well, as we're both our own train, right? We're both doing our own thing. At some point in our lives, we came together and we were like, hey, this is cool. So we're on the same track together. There's two different tracks that have like, if that makes sense.
That's one train.
No, I'm sorry. We're on two different tracks. They're just right next to each other.
Going
Our
the
tracks
same
are going
speed.
simultaneously, and at
This
some
is getting
point,
complicated.
God forbid, our trains veer off away from each other, but we're still our own people. You were your own person before. You'll always be your own person. You just choose to share things with that other person. Yeah. So I think that makes sense.
But that's not accurate, because you are on the same track.
Yeah.
Because if both of your trains are going, it's basically like you've just meld into a mega train.
Right.
You can decouple, or whatever it is, and your trains become.
You're right. This is getting complicated.
It is.
Yeah.
It's Will Smith is not known for his analogies. It's for his horrible rapping
And his sick
and
beats.
his humor.
Horrible,
his humor,
sir.
Please,
and
sir.
his humorous acting.
Stop. You're
But
embarrassing
like
yourself.
that to me though, like if you're choosing to couple, you're
Yeah.
choosing to merge your trains together, you are on the same track. Because whatever I do affects that train. If Will goes off and does something, it affects her.
Well, yeah,
Right?
I don't think this
Kinda.
is saying act like an a-hole and completely forget about your family.
No. But I'm saying, no matter what it is, if I stay an hour late today at work, it's not being an a-hole. It's just, hey, I really want to get this work done. That affects my wife.
Yeah, but you would, I would think that if you were going to have to stay an hour late, you would say, "Hey, I'm going to stay an hour. I'll need to stay an hour late."
Sure.
Is that okay? And if she really had a problem with it, you'd be like, "Okay, I'll try to figure something else
But
out."
even if it's okay, and again, I'm sorry, I know we're running past time. I apologize. We're going to wrap this up. But even if it's okay, even if she goes, "That's totally fine. I understand that you have a job and you're providing for our family, and I appreciate that." It still affects her. Still impacts her life. When she has her girls' night, when she used to work for a different company, and all the girls would go out and have margaritas, and I would never want to go to that. But when they would go out and do that, that still impacted my life, positively, negatively, both.
Right.
It impacted me.
Did you go?
No,
Why?
because I chose not to go.
See, that's your thing.
Yeah. But it doesn't. I'm not saying you have to be independent or you have to be dependent. I'm just saying that no matter what you do, it impacts the other person.
Yeah, but just because it impacts doesn't mean
It's
you
bad or
can't
good.
do it.
Yeah.
You're right.
Right.
But I'm saying that
it's a cause and effect kind of thing. Yeah.
That's why you're no longer an individual. You're a group.
I moved in with Christine a little over a year ago, and we've been dating for a very long time. So that is still still a big step for us. Yeah, and it's been good, and I really enjoy it. But there was a weekend about this time last year where I was coming up on my birthday, and Christine was going to a convention in Houston, big anime convention. She was super excited about it. Went great. But she was going, and she was like, "Well, I'm going to go to this convention. You got the weekend." And I was like, "Okay, wait, hold on. You're going to leave me here on my birthday weekend and take off, and you're going to go do your own thing." And she was like, "Are you seriously telling me as a guy you don't want a weekend where there's nobody else in your life and you can drink all of the beer and eat all of the pizza you want?" And that's when it hit me. I was like, "Oh my God, she knows me better than I do."
That is what I want.
How did she know? I didn't even know I wanted that till you said it, and now I'm like, that's the greatest idea ever.
That only works, by the way, for girls. Yeah, if I ever told my wife, "You're telling me you don't want some smelly guy
true.
walking around," and she'd be like, don't pull that. Like, guys are basic. We're basic beings that women can manipulate so easily. That is proof positive right there.
Yeah, she's got me all figured out. But we're our own people, in a way. Yeah.
I'm my own person. I say things and do things that annoy her and make her feel like, ugh, I married him, ha ha, whatever it is. But like, there's things that I do that make me an individual. We're not like this. We don't share a brain. We don't do any of those kind of things. But what I'm saying is that you're no longer you are coupled. That thought of being an individual has to be gone.
Just as my wife just commented that you lost all credibility by insulting the artist who brought us Miami. So I would absolutely agree with her on that statement.
Ami, I believe it's pronounced. So yeah. Again, I'm sorry we ran a little late. I wanted to make sure we got that point across. And thank you, Megan, for the post. You are correct. I did get jiggy with it a lot when I was in high school. That was a great.
It's a good album.
Good album.
It's a good album.
Look forward to seeing you guys on Monday. Again, we're off Good Friday on Monday back here on RNC and the Lunch Break Show.